Hey everybody, I am Brady Briggs. Welcome to another episode of the Combat Logic. Hey guys, I'm Brady Briggs. Welcome to another episode of the Combat Logic. Today, I'm recapping UFC Vegas 52. And starting off with the first fight, I was pretty excited for this one because of how Dana White talked about Mike Jackson following his win over CM Punk like 5 years ago, maybe even longer. Well, he brought him back to bring this Irish star named Dean Barry up and give him an easy win. Well, he ended up getting disqualified late in the first round for eye gouging. And initially, I thought this fight was a no contest because evidently I didn't pay attention to the official result. So I was like, Mike Jackson's now 0-1 with two no contests. Like, what the hell? It's so crazy. But no, now he's 1-1. His only win, because his win over CM Punk was overturned, his only win is by disqualification. What I think needs to happen, I would really love to see this rematch. I want to see them fight each other again. And I'm also interested to see Dean Barry fight Mickey Gall. Seems how Mike Jackson fought Mickey Gall in his first fight. I think that would be pretty interesting to see. Dean Barry, I didn't really see that awfully much out of him. All I saw was he was really trying his damnedest to land that overhand right, and he landed a couple of them, but he didn't look quite as good as a lot of us thought. And Mike Jackson coming into the fight with an 0-1 record, I think he showed us like records don't mean shit. And experience sometimes doesn't even mean anything. He's a technical talent. Felipe Lean's got his first win inside the UFC PFL heavyweight champion. He dropped down to light heavyweight after going 0-2 at heavyweight, and he beat Marcin Prochnio, or Prochnio rather, a unanimous decision. That was a good one for him. Wailing Aori knocked out Cameron Ellis in midway through the first round, and he landed like one of the most beautiful shovel hooks I've seen in a while that hurt Cameron. And he followed it up with a lot more punches. And, you know, Keith Peterson really let him die in front of him. And this is why I have so much shit to talk about this ref, is because anybody remember Dominic Cruz's fight with Henry Cejudo when he was working his way up? He got stunned with one shot. He was working his way up and he stopped the fight. Like, he just completely took that fight away from him, but he lets people die in front of him on other cards. It makes no sense. It's so inconsistent. I don't know why he gets licensed. Anyways, it was a good one for Aori. Tyson Pedro came back after about 3.5 years away to do what we all knew he could, and that was finish Ike Villanueva. As soon as he started landing that leg kick, Ike could not find his range. Every single leg kick he landed hurt him. And the last one he landed dropped him, and then he landed an uppercut to the downed Villanueva and starched him with it. Landed a couple more afterwards. Beautiful performance. I had such high hopes for Tyson Pedro. He's one of the more technical talents we have in the light heavyweight division. He's still only 30 years old. Like, he could be a future champion, and I'm super excited that he's back. I can't wait to see him fight again. Sergey Kondoshko beat Dwight Grant last night, and I was super upset about that because I love Dwight Grant. He's got such a loopy style of boxing. It's so fun to watch. He hits so goddamn hard. And he cracked Sergey a few times, but Sergey cracked him a few times too. And something I've seen out of Dwight Grant in the past is when the fight goes on, he tires and he gets discouraged. You know, can't blame him, but he does. Something I notice of him. And that happened last night. He got TKO'd late in round 2, considering. All right, starting off the main card was Marc-Andre Barriault and Jordan Wright. It was supposed to be Alexander Romanov and Chase Sherman. That was been rescheduled to next weekend. And also, Manel Kape. Manel Kape was supposed to fight Sue Mudadri last night, and he didn't because he tested positive for steroids like 3 days ago. So that was super upsetting because I was really looking forward to that fight. I love Manel Kape. I love Sue Mudadri. That was about to be a wicked kickboxing fight. But no, it's just taken from us. Anyway, starting off the main card, Marc-Andre Barriault and Jordan Wright. We knew this was going to be a good fight. Jordan Wright actually looked pretty damn good. So Barriault got right in his grill as soon as the fight started, as he always does. And Wright attacked the one opening that was there, and that was leg kicks. But he was being chased around the octagon, and having to use your footwork that extensively is very tiring, especially against someone like Barrial, who doesn't tire at all. I was a little worried about that, but then Barrial ends up rushing in. He gets close to him. Jordan Wright ties him up in a clinch and lands some nasty knees. He's got some of the best knees in the clinch in the entire sport. So fun to watch. Yeah, and then Wright presses him against the fence and goes for a takedown. He actually secures it. And I was like, dude, why are you wrestling this guy? You're going to tire yourself out. You're not a wrestler. But it was working for him until he goes for the second takedown, which he switches to a single leg and leaves his head on the outside and then gets caught in a guillotine, which, man, at least he didn't get knocked out this time. But he either finishes opponents or he gets finished. That's why he's so exciting to watch. And Barrial, this is the first submission win of his entire career. So that was cool to see. Charles Jourdain versus Lando Venata. This fight went a lot like that one did. Venata ends up taking him down. He is actually looking really good on the feet too against Jourdain. And he ends up taking Jourdain down right into his side control. But Jourdain is able to lash up a guillotine midway through round one and tap Venata, which was super impressive because I don't ever remember Venata being submitted other than by Tony Ferguson in a fight he was dominating. And yeah, that was super impressive. Charles Jourdain reminded us that he has a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Honestly, I didn't even know that until he said it. That was a serious win for him. Macy Barber had a good performance. She came back and looked like herself. It's the first time she's looked like herself in a couple of years. She came out and dominated the first round against De La Rosa. The second round was close, and then she came out and dominated the third. She's on the 2-fight win streak now, even though she probably should only be on a 1-fight win streak. Everybody knows Miranda Maverick beat her, but she's on a 2-fight win streak now, and it looks like she's back. Claudio Puelles and Clay Guida. This was an interesting fight. So Guida ends up taking him down, and he gets locked in a triangle, which is pretty tight, but he uses the correct defense. He circles to the right way, the correct way, and puts his knee on Claudio's face, a very uncomfortable position, but Claudio ends up getting his face out of there and then switches to the arm. He leaves his arm locked in like an omoplata type position for a couple minutes of that fight. And then eventually Guida's able to scramble out of it, and he gets an advantage position for a split second until Claudio wraps up his leg and knee bars him. So Claudio's now 5-1 in the UFC. 3 of those wins are knee bars, okay? When he had 2 knee bar finishes, that was the most in UFC history. He adds to the record last night at UFC Vegas 52 by knee barring Clay Guida as well, who was coming off a submission of the year over Leonardo Santos, mind you. And then the main event, this one didn't really go the way a lot of us thought. Amanda Lemos came in on a 5-fight win streak. She had so much hype behind her, and she's every bit as dangerous as Jessica Andrade. And she came in ranked at number 10, while Andrade came in ranked at number 1. And honestly, it showed, because Lemos came out and she was landing some nasty leg kicks, and they were affecting Andrade early on. And she was throwing heavy leather too, but it was really the leg kicks that were affecting Jessica. And Jessica's able to bully her way into a clinch and get a standing arm triangle choke midway through the first round. Like the first standing arm triangle choke in UFC history. The only thing I can think of that really compares to it is when Aljamain Sterling submitted Takei Mizugaki with an arm triangle choke off his back from his guard. That's super rare too, but the first ever standing arm triangle choke in UFC history. And Andrade is now 3-1 in her last 4 since moving up to 125 pounds. All 3 wins are first round finishes, and her only loss is to champion Valentina Shevchenko. Things are looking really good for her. So now we gear up for UFC Vegas 53, Marlon Vera versus Rob Font, and that's a pretty stacked card. Be sure to check out my preview for that. Thank y'all for watching. Have a good one.